Yeah, top 10 free-to-play characters in Marvel Strike Force for the month of January 2020. Yes, first one of the new year. Little bit of a shakeup in the rankings, guys. And if you want to see if your favorite character is still on the list, I think you know what to do. Let's go smash it.
ValleyFlyin.
What is up, Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back. Welcome to the channel. Yes, this is the first top 10 list of 2020. We are talking about the top free-to-play / farmable characters in Marvel Strike Force. And the question is your favorite character still on the list? Little bit of a shakeup this month. Before we begin and get to the countdown, I do want to give a big shout out to everybody that watched last month's video and gave this a thumbs up. Now, just to clarify, one of the things I said in that video, think about making Captain Marvel eligible for this list because she's kind of set in those milestone orbs, but a lot of the comments there don't include her, so she is still not eligible. So let's go into the PDF and see who else is not eligible for the list this month. All right, guys, and let's talk about the characters that are not eligible, because there are a lot of good characters that are not eligible for this list because they're not in a store. They don't have a node that you could farm every day, and boom, all of these characters. And yes, Captain Marvel, Coulson, still not eligible for this list because it looks like they're available permanently in those milestone orbs, but you guys talked me out of it. You guys made me use a little more logic. They are still orbs. RNG is still involved, so they are not eligible for this list because unless you got a lot of luck, you can't really reliably farm these characters. Also, milestone characters like Wolverine and Hulk, they are eligible for this list. Are they going to make it this month, though? I don't know. We will have to see. Now, who recently became farmable and is eligible for this list? Let's clear this off. Nobody recently became farmable. So come on, Foxnex. We need this release cadence a little more predictable. For me, I think that's going to allow me to spend more money. So it's in your best interest, Foxnex, and it is in the best interest of the players just to not make this game as static and hopefully get some good changes coming to this game. Now, if this is your first time watching this top 10 list, obviously this is based on the value of this character. So they need to have a good kit. They need to have a good team, but I factor usage in. So if I'm using these characters a lot in the previous month since the last video, they're going to be rated a lot higher. And then that fun factor as well. So highly subjective. If you have a difference of opinion, let me know in the comments because everybody's usage and fun factor is going to be a little different. So I expect everybody's list to be slightly different than mine, but boom, let's go. January top 10 free-to-play characters, and making the list for the first time ever. Boom, Thor. Now, it might not be the first ever. He might have made one of these early lists, but not in a long time. Thor, he has been a very mediocre at best character for a while. Was pretty good if you paired him with the right characters like a Captain America and Black Widow, but outside of that, team didn't really have a lot of usage. So what has changed? Well, as you guys are probably aware, Asgardian's got a big rework since the last video. And yeah, Thor, one of my favorite characters on that team. In my opinion, one of the more valuable characters on that team. I love his passive where he just gets that big AoE every time 5 Asgardians are hit, or as an Asgardian is hit 5 times. One of my favorite moves in the game. I love seeing that just passive AoE go off. Plus, he's got a little better. His kit got slightly better. And I wanted to rate him higher, but the reason that he is at the number 10 spot is because he doesn't have a lot of value outside of that Asgardian team. But in that Asgardian team, one of the best meta characters in my opinion. So Thor making the list. Now, he is not an easy farm. He is available in the raid store, but as you guys know, only 3 characters show up there at a time. So you could go weeks without seeing Thor in there. So, you know, hopefully that is something that will be fixed in 2020. But Thor making the list this month. Congratulations to the God of Thunder. Coming in at number 9 as boom, Pyro. Now, Pyro's a little interesting situation for me. Integral part of that Brotherhood team, but with the addition of the Marauders, I'm splitting up my Brotherhood into Brotherhood and Marauders and putting some Spider-Verse characters on that original Brotherhood team to replace Sabretooth and Mystique. Pyro, very, very good character. One of the best blasters in the game. Does a lot of damage with his bleeds. He has heal block if the character drops below a certain amount of health, and he just does a lot of damage. He is the main damage dealer for that team, especially with those bleeds he does. Oh, and he's got disrupted too on his special. So very, very good character. I like using him a lot, but some of these other characters are just passing him up. And the reason for me is based on usage. I'm just not using that Brotherhood team as much as before, or that Spider Hood, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not using them as much. I use them in Blitz, but not too much outside of that. They're okay in War as well. But yeah, Pyro's making the list. Still a very good character, just his team is slightly fallen off. And if we look at that art book that came out, it says that more Brotherhood may be coming to the game. So maybe the Brotherhood will get back up to that meta rank. But as of right now, the Brotherhood's fallen off, so that means Pyro fell off a little bit. Hard farm. He is available in the War store. Those credits don't come easy, and kind of like that raid store, you got that rotation, so you're not always going to see him when you want, or you have those credits available. So good character, hard farm. If you don't have him already, I would suggest starting farming him now, because like I said, very integral part of that Brotherhood team. They're still a good team, just I don't use them as much as I used to. Coming in at number 8, the big bad Mordo, and he fell off slightly. And again, the reason is because of usage. I'm not using that supernatural team as much. Still a very good character. He has a stun on turn 1 with his special if you put that T4 in there, and he's got heal blocks. Just a very, very annoying character. If you run him in a full supernatural team, he is healing a lot of characters, so giving that supernatural team a little more viability in raids and other game modes. Just a very fun character, and I hate going up against him in the raids. Heal blocks, blinds, stuns, it is just a nuisance to deal with. And yeah, Mordo's gotta be on this list. Now, he is a very easy farm, maybe one of the easiest characters to farm on this list, because he is available in the raid store. Those characters do not rotate, and you can farm him every single day. So Mordo, well-deserved spot at number 8. He is still on the list, guys. All right, and coming in at number 7 is Mordo's partner in crime. Boom, it is Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme. And what can I say about him? He is the main piece of this supernatural team, because if you eliminate Doctor Strange, well, that supernatural team is just not as good, and they're going to start to fall apart because you can't bring anybody back to life. Winds of Watum flipping all of the buffs on the enemy team. That is so annoying when you face him in the raids. He is one of my high priority targets whenever I'm facing him. And yeah, if he dies on my supernatural team, it's probably not gonna win if he dies early in the battle, actually. So Doctor Strange does a lot of good stuff. He's got a lot of buffs or a lot of debuffs that he can place on the enemies, even with his basic. And then obviously that Book of Vishanti, bringing 2 supernatural characters back to life when you put that T4 in there. So very, very integral part of that supernatural team. Very, very good team. Still using them a lot, just not as much as the previous month. So Supernatural fell off a little bit for me, and so that means Doctor Strange fell off a little bit. So great character, and he's not an easy farm, kind of a late game farm. He's available on Mystic 2-9. Oh, and we got a newcomer on the list at number 6. Boom, it is Thor's brother Loki, and he is a very good character, important part of that Asgardian team. And I didn't mention this with Thor, but I'm using that Asgardian team every single day. I got the Cosmic Lane in the Alpha raids, and yeah, Asgardians are performing very, very well. So usage for all these Asgardians has went up significantly since their rework, and since this full Asgardian team has come to fruition in Marvel Strike Force. And Loki does a lot of good stuff. He has that opening move that puts defense down on the enemy character, and has 2 characters attack that character with that defense down if you put that T4 in his special. So it's a tricky move. He's got some stealthiness coming from his ultimate. He puts the rest of the Asgardians in stealth when they drop below health. And unlike Thor, he has a lot of value outside of that Asgardian team as well. If you're looking for a 5th for that supernatural or a lot of other teams, Loki is going to serve you very, very well. He is tricky. He's a tricky guy, especially with his illusions or clones that he makes of himself with the evades on them. And yeah, it's just a nuisance to deal with. And he is a very important part of that team. Not the main damage dealer like Thor. I wanted to rate Thor a little higher, but I had to go with Loki a little higher because of that use outside of that Asgardian team. So Loki, a little bit of a later farm as well. He's on Mystic 3-6, so not gonna be an early game farm, but once you can unlock that node, I suggest farming Loki, because not only will these Asgardians become a good team that you possibly could be using every day, but yeah, they are required to unlock Black Bolt, who looks to be part of the meta. Looks like he has a little bugs as I'm recording this right now, but once those get fixed, gonna be a very integral part of the game. I mean, even with the bugs, he's still very good. So Asgardians needed for Black Bolt. So yes, these Asgardians are kicking butt and taking names. Coming in at number 5 is my boy, Rocket Raccoon, and he is the damage dealer of that BKT team. He's got a low cooldown on his AoE, his ultimate, and he could just have that thing go off over and over again, especially if you pair him with Star-Lord and Thanos and sandwiching him between all that energy that he is getting. So potentially running that AoE over and over again if the enemies are weak enough and you're killing enough of them. Very good character. He has a good special as well, with some nice synergy with Groot, giving Groot that taunt. So pairs very well with Groot. Is falling just a little bit because I'm not using him as much, but I still use that BKT on the alpha raids every day. Like I said, I'm on the cosmic lane, so Asgardians, BKT, and then Fantastic Four. Those are my teams that I use there if someone happens to die. So Rocket is still getting a lot of usage, but just not as much as the previous month. Still a very good character, one of the best damage dealers in the game. And if you don't have him, I highly suggest getting him, because you can unlock Star-Lord with him. So double purpose right there. Now, he is in that infamous raid store that has that rotation of characters. There's a lot of good characters in that raid store. Rocket should be one of your earlier farms if you can. So spend those credits, get Rocket, build him up, and yeah, use him, because you will not be disappointed with all of the damage that he can instill into enemies. And coming in at number 4 is Rocket's partner in crime. I am Groot at number 4, and he is a very good character, very good utility character. He provides a lot to the team, and he's one of my backup characters for Ultimus 7. He does a lot of good things. Defense up and death proof on turn 1 with his special. He's got some cleansing that he could do, and with a little bit of healing on his ultimate, and then his basic, he does some good damage as well. And let's not forget about his passive, because man, his passive is very solid, especially if you have some other Guardians on the team. Bunch of buffs, and even with non-Guardians, if he dies, he's giving defense up, plus he has a chance to revive as well. So Groot is always a nuisance, and he's one of the targets that I normally try to kill last on a team because of all the buffs he gives to the rest of the team when he dies. So Groot, very underrated character. He was in a very bad place for a while, but he's quickly become one of the best utility characters, in my opinion, in the game, and his damage is not that bad either. And he's a very early game farm, probably the second easiest character to farm on this list. He's available on Nexus 2.9, so newer players, you should be going after Groot, especially because he can have that dual purpose of unlocking Star-Lord as well. All right, we are getting into the top 3, and number 3 this month, boom, Scientist Supreme. Yes, a big jump for Scientist Supreme, and the reason, usage. Her kit stayed exactly the same, but I'm using her every single day in Ultimus 7. I run that team, not even having Minerva. I think just Scientist Supreme is enough. Flipping all the buffs, all the debuffs on your team, applying a lot of debuffs to the enemy team. It is just so annoying if you're going up against a Scientist Supreme, and it is so nice when you're using your Scientist Supreme. Basically using her, you're never gonna be debuffed for that long if you are using her in Ultimus 7. And yeah, she has a chance to revive characters as well. So not the guaranteed revive like Minerva, but she has a slight chance on turn to revive some characters as well. So I really like her. She's kind of the healer on the team with her ultimate and special, doing a little bit of healing for the rest of the team, but just the buffs, the debuffs going on the enemy team and then flipping them to buffs on your team. I love that 1-2 combos. Plus she applies some debuffs with her special for her basic as well. And then she's a very valuable member of that aim team, which I am using a little more because of that Graviton Blitz that came last week. So very, very good character. One of my favorite Ultimate 7 characters on my primary team that I'm using right now. So if you don't have her, I suggest getting her at least just for that. And if you're going to run an AIM team, she is integral to that team. She's a little later game farm, available on Cosmic 2-9. Probably the third easiest character to farm on this list, but if you don't have her yet, I suggest building her up because once you get to Ultimate 7, you will not regret putting the resources into Scientist Supreme. Coming in at number 2, the man with the plan. It is my boy Falcon. Oh, one of the better characters in the game, in my opinion. One of the best farmable characters in the game, hands down, not even a question, because he does a lot of good things. One of his favorite moves is his special, and that is so valuable. I'm using him every single day in my primary Ultimate 7 team, and I don't like it when he dies. Sometimes I use that charge instead of putting in a replacement because I think Falcon adds so much to that team with his special, giving speed to everybody, especially if you have multiple enemies on the field with buffs on them. He's going to give a lot of speed to your team, and this is a turn-based game, so the more turns you're able to take, the better it is for you. So Falcon, very nice stuff with his special, and don't forget about his ultimate either. His ultimate is a big AoE, and yeah, the more buffs the enemies have on that, the better for you as well. So a lot of damage, a lot of speed. What else can you want from a character? He is a very good character. He's not an early game farm, kind of a mid game farm. Once you get to Nexus 7-3, you can start to farm his node. And once you get there, I highly suggest farming him because he's not just a character that I'm using in the raids and arena. I am using him in the power armor team and blitz every day as well. And in war, he's part of that power armor team, very integral part of that team as well. So yes, when you have the opportunity, farm Falcon, you will not regret it. And surprise, surprise, number 1 this month, it is still Vision. I don't know how anybody's going to replace this character at the number 1 spot because he has such a solid kit. And up until a couple days ago, he was on my primary arena team. So very good character, using him a lot, not as much in the raids currently with the alpha raids, but yeah, even with that, he is still a character that I'm using every single day, part of that power armor team. I'm using him as the 5th of the power armor every single day in blitz, and I use him in war. I think he adds a lot to that team. He is very, very annoying when you're facing him. He has that ability block that he could do on turn 1 to primary and adjacent targets. He's got that AoE attack, which clears buffs. Oh, I hate when he does that to my team, especially when I'm running Ultron and those buffs are so important. Just a very strong character. And if you're going up against him and you attack him, he might dodge, and that is just so annoying, kind of a wasted attack. But Vision, very, very solid character. What else is there to say about him that hasn't been said in previous videos? He's just a very, very good character. Only reason that he might fall off, let me just say this, is for usage. I might be using more characters more next month. Like I said, a couple days ago, he fell out of my arena team, but I might put him back in there. So Vision, very good character. I highly suggest getting him as soon as possible. Not an easy farm, kind of a late game farm. It took me a little while to 3-star that node on Mystic 3-9, but once you can do that, I suggest getting your Vision, farming those shards, getting him up to 7 stars, and placing him on a multitude of teams. One of the reasons that he is up here as well is because he fits on so many different teams, and giving defense up to the rest of the tech allies. How could I forget that? Does a lot of good stuff. So that is it for this month, guys. I am curious to see what your list is. What is your top 10 characters? It's probably going to be different than mine because my list is based on usage. That usage thing is going to be different for every person, and that fun factor is going to be different for every person as well. So very curious. Let me know in the comments what you think of this list and who you would place on your list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because if you did, subscribe to the channel, smash on that like button, and join the notification squad by clicking that bell so every time a new video is posted, you will be notified. I'm on social media, check me out there, and there are some links to support the channel down below. Normally I'm playing on BlueStacks, There's a link that you can play for free. There's some other things down there as well. Check those out, and I will see you guys next time. Hulk fist bump, baby. ValleyFlyin out.